Broadcasting from the great state of Texas. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, in El Paso, and anywhere else, inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Monday, March 2nd, Texas Independence Day. Welcome into the program. Glad to have you with us here on the show today. A very busy show. We are going to have guests basically starting at 5:35 throughout the rest of the program. That's what we're looking at today. I mean, it's just one guest after the other, beginning at about 5:35 this evening. Wesley Hunt will join us at 5:35 p.m. We'll visit with him about his U.S. Senate campaign. Looking forward to that conversation as always. And, of course, tomorrow is the election day. Tomorrow's the big day. It's we're going to have election coverage for you here on the show. And, of course, right afterwards, all of our stations will be joining us for continued election night coverage of the Republican and Democrat primaries. It's sponsored by A.S. Dent Repair and Williams Brake Tune and Tire, great friends of the show, and they're helping us put on the election night coverage that we're gonna have. It's gonna be interesting. What the results say across the state. There are a number of races across the state that are going to be very interesting to watch and see how they play out. And, some will have impacts maybe on the Texas House. Some may have impacts on other campaigns, other House races that are out there. So we've got all of that to take a look at tomorrow evening. Of course, the big U.S. Senate race, the Senate race on the Democrat side, that's going to be fun to watch and see how it plays out. You've got the I saw earlier a kind of an average of polls show that it's going to be a very close race between James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. Will it really be that close of a race? A lot of people going back and forth on that. And so then we've got, of course, the Texas AG race. We've got the Ag Commissioners race, which, speaking of, we will visit with both Sid Miller and Nate Sheets later on in the program. Both of them will join us. Chad Seay will join us as well. Mike Kostelich will join us. He's running for Justice of the Peace. And we'll visit with him coming up at about 5:48 this evening. So just a lot of guests who will be joining us throughout the show today. Of course, we want to hear from you, especially here at the very beginning. What a weekend. What a weekend. The U.S. and Israel taking out the Ayatollah, basically taking out the Iranian government. The Iranian government still now firing missiles at just anyone they can think of firing missiles at. It doesn't matter. They're firing off drones. They're firing off missiles. Anyone they can hit. They're basically hitting anyone who is quote unquote friendly towards the United States, and they're hitting tourist destinations. They're hitting hotels. They're hitting restaurants. They're not trying to hit just military complexes. They're trying to hit anything they can hit. And there's, of course, you got the Democrats who are complaining about how they were not consulted and Congress hasn't formally declared war. Yeah, well, guess what? Congress hasn't formally declared war in a long, long, long time. And you never hear the Democrats say anything. Whichever party is out of power, they complain about when a president goes and bombs a country without consulting Congress, but then they do it the next time as well. If you wanted to get to the constitutionality, if you wanted to get down to that, that's fine. That's a good conversation to have, but it should have been had, I don't know, years ago, instead of in the middle of a conflict. In the middle of the conflict, you don't start saying, wait a minute, we need to see if we're going to back the commander-in-chief. No, he's the commander-in-chief. He was elected. He's president. And you can say, Congress should formally declare war. It should be up to Congress to declare war. But at the same time, the president has the right to defend the nation and to defend our interest around the globe. We've seen that. We've seen it how it's played out before. To those who are worried about a forever war, doesn't sound like we're going to get into one of those. Doesn't sound like we're going to have boots on the ground. Doesn't sound like we're going to be sending in hundreds of thousands of troops. This sounds like it's going to be a overwhelming bombing campaign to take out as much leadership as humanly possible and to give the Iranian people a chance to rise up, as they have asked to do numerous times. But it's going to be up to the Iranian people to take that nation into the area of freedom, or who knows? This idea that, and I know we had on one of the candidates for District 19, I think it was last week, may have been Dr. May, who was just saying, well, there's a plan. There's a plan in place, and they're going to, install this person, and everything's going to be fine. That's a nice, pretty way to wrap things up, but it never happens that way. And even Trump yesterday told, I think it was ABC News, well, yeah, we had an idea of who we wanted to take over, but we kind of killed them all. So, whoops, we kind of killed everybody. Then, of course, you have the possible, it looks like it's a very possible terrorist attack down in Austin over the weekend, where a shooter opened fire on a bar packed full of young people. A Texas Tech student was killed in the attack, and it brings to mind again this idea that, and a lot of people had been talking about the possibility of some of these sleeper cells in the U.S., things that we have to be careful of right now. And I do advise people, keep your head on a swivel. If anything looks weird, if anything looks out of place, if anything just doesn't seem right, get out. And this is one of those times where you have to be careful, because you never know who's going to lash out, if they're part of some terrorist organization, or they just don't like the steps that the president has taken, and they want to carry out their own attack against people. You don't know. But there is intelligence out there that says that there are sleeper cells in the United States. Have they been activated? We don't know. But it's always one of those deals where you need to know your surroundings. Yeah, keep your head on the swivel, and really know what's going on out there. It actually made a couple of lawmakers say that, hey, maybe we should get rid of this whole 51% rule. And if you're just somebody going to a bar, you're going out there with friends. I've said this forever, by the way. If you're just somebody going out to a bar with friends and you're not drinking, which, by the way, if you look at alcohol consumption use, it's dropping. And there are a lot more people just going to bars and hanging out and not getting intoxicated. Why should they not be allowed to carry? Why should you not be allowed to carry a firearm? And I responded to it. I said, that's a great idea. But let's also open up, why should I not be allowed to carry when I go to a polling location? or to a stadium or a fair or, any of these other places that we just automatically close off to those who carry a firearm. Personally, I think it should be allowed up to the individual's business, who they want to carry inside, what they want their rules to be. But I also think you as a U.S. citizen, just because you go in and you order a Coke, I like to call them what do we have? What do we call them? The designated driver, right? How about the designated Second Amendment person, the designated security guy for you? How about that? Where someone decides they're not going to drink, they're going to be they're going to enjoy some chips and salsa. They're going to enjoy a Diet Coke, and they should be allowed to carry at the bar. Why not? And so that may be an issue that comes up to the Texas legislature in the next session. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that later on. So we've got all of that to talk about. We do have the election. Any questions you have on the election, text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. It's also Texas Independence Day. Happy Texas Independence Day to all those who may celebrate. Tomorrow we're actually going to go into a nice little Texas topic for you tomorrow, where you can kind of weigh in on a little Texas history that we could get into. So we'll do that tomorrow when we actually have a lot of time to take calls and text messages. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and much more on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in to News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
When I'm driving, I look twice for motorcycles.
I look twice because motorcycles are easy to miss.
I look twice just in case a motorcycle's in my blind spot.
I look twice at intersections and before I turn left.
I look twice because I want to know for sure.
I look twice for motorcycles because I don't want to hurt anyone.
Look twice for motorcycles. There's a life riding on it. A message from Texas Department of Transportation.
Wake up with local news, weather, and your opinions. Sunrise LBK, weekday mornings from 6 to 8:30. News Talk, 95.1 and 790. KFYO.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. We had a texter asking, how do you square this with Trump's promise of no more forever wars? Are we in a forever war? I think that there are people who they mix up the idea of no more forever wars with isolationism and that we're not going to do anything when it comes to security of the United States. We're not going to go after other countries who may harm us. This idea, I've seen a lot of folks also, including Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett was given an interview earlier today where she said, I haven't been consulted. I don't know why. How is Iran a danger to us? You have to be really ignorant about history not to understand how Iran poses a threat to the security of the United States. And I like how you'll have some of the Democrats who will stand up and go, well, of course, none of us will argue about the Ayatollah. It's good that the Ayatollah is gone, but still, this isn't the right way of doing things. Just say you don't like Trump. Just stand up and go, hey, you know what? Okay, fine. And if Obama would have done this, everything would have been fine. But because it's the orange guy, we don't like him, and we can't be accepting of any of this. The fact that the United States and Israel, did you see the news out earlier today? The intelligence here was fascinating, and how U.S. intelligence and Israeli intelligence worked. Nick, did you hear that for years now, the Israelis were able to hack into the traffic system, the traffic light system, in Tehran? And so for years now, this is great. They have been tracking the movements of all the top leaders of Tehran or of Iran for years through the traffic webcam or through the traffic light system, because they were able to hack into it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good intelligence right there. And the U.S., they were able to track everybody, and, they were all, I guess, hanging out at the Ayatollah's house. I mean, why not? Seems like a party place. And they were all hanging out the Ayatollah, which, I mean, come on. You get 40, it was like 40 people they were able to lop off. I don't know if all 40 were at the Ayatollah's mansion or not. But wouldn't you think somebody somewhere would have gone, there's a few too many of us at this one location right now. Still one of the best undercover jobs, or I guess intelligence jobs that the Israelis have done. It still has to be the pager one. That one that's A+. That's A++. When it comes to intelligence and being able to coordinate a bombing like that. It's pretty good. But it shows just the difference between the last couple of military conquests, whatever you want to call it, that the U.S. has been able to pull off. It's like we're just light years ahead of where we were when we went into Iraq and went into Afghanistan. Which we went into Iraq and went into. There was no reason to go into Iraq in hindsight, but you go into Afghanistan. You're trying to go after Bin Laden. You're trying to find Bin Laden. Then you attack Iraq, and things go not so well once you start digging in there. And then here, under Trump and Pete Hegseth and this administration, you look at whether it's Venezuela, you look at Iran, and they carried out amazing tactics in order to chop off the heads of these governments. Now, is this going to be over in a day or two? No. There's probably a lot more bombing to go. There's probably going to be some suffering on our side that has to happen. You're probably going to see more bombings of our allies overseas. But the administration so far, the U.S. along with the Israelis, they've been able to take out the Iranian Navy. They've been able to take out leadership. I mean, this has gone about as well as you could expect it to go. The only thing that's missing here, where the hell are the Europeans? The Europeans just sitting this one out is just, it's pathetic. You would expect that the Brits and the French would at least go, hey, all right, now you got the hard part done. We're coming in next. We're with you guys. Instead, they're sitting it out. I guess maybe because their countries have already been taken over. I don't know. But the Europeans look horrible right now, just sitting on the sidelines. And it's also, again, a big, strong warning to Russia and China. You want to mess? You want to mess around? Look what the United States can do. Look what we can do with at least one of our allies. Look what we can do. Don't screw around with us. So again, I just it was amazing to watch this weekend and see what was going on. And I have to say, those who there were a lot of people who came out afterwards and were applauding Trump and saying that this was the right move. And I think everyone who's been on board, they've been right so far on this one. How would you like to be the guy they'd like the next Ayatollah? They keep on going down the line of Ayatollah, secession. And it's like, okay, well, you're pick number 41. Damn it. It's like an instant death sentence for you. When we come back, Wesley Hunt. He's a candidate for U.S. Senate. He'll join us next here on the Chad Hasty Show.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas, because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do, text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
TSN headlines: the gunman who opened fire in Austin early Sunday morning, killing 2 and injuring 14, was not anybody the FBI or local law enforcement were familiar with. The FBI is calling the mass shooting a potential act of terrorism, but there is no final determination. The suspect was killed by law enforcement and was wearing a sweatshirt that read "Property of Allah" and a T-shirt with the Iranian flag on it. Texas voters go to the polls tomorrow for a high-stakes primary that will set the stage for the November midterms. You may start to see gasoline prices going up in the aftermath of the U.S. strikes in Iran. Crude jumped from $65 to $71 a barrel in the aftermath, according to AAA. A well-known Dallas real estate developer has died. Henry S. Miller was 79, developed the West Village Shopping Center in uptown Dallas. His grandfather founded the Henry S. Miller real estate firm in 1914. And with your Texas news headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
The Texas Comptroller is the chief financial officer of the 8th largest economy in the world. Governor Abbott knows Kelly Hancock will keep the Texas economy booming. As acting comptroller, Kelly Hancock protected your tax dollars and worked with Governor Abbott to fund President Trump's border wall. That's why Governor Abbott trusts Kelly Hancock.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. Results matter. That's why I endorse Kelly Hancock for Texas Comptroller. There is no one I trust more. Vote Kelly Hancock.
For Texas Agriculture Commissioner, do you want an experienced agriculture businessman? Then vote Nate Sheets. Someone trusted and endorsed by the Texas Farm Bureau? Vote Nate Sheets. Someone who will restore integrity to the office. Vote Nate Sheets.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. I'm proud to endorse Nate Sheets for Agriculture Commissioner. He's committed to fighting for Texas agriculture and restoring integrity to the Texas Agriculture Commission. Vote Nate Sheets for Agriculture Commissioner.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Greg Abbott.
Here when we
South Plains weather forecast. We end Monday with a very mild day, and temperatures are dropping into the middle 50s by Tuesday morning. On Tuesday, temperatures in the middle to upper 80s under mostly sunny sky. Clouds increase on Tuesday night. A cool front again on Wednesday with the temperatures in the mid 70s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the new All-American Sonic Smasher Meal. Meteorologist Ron Roberts of Lubbock's official weather station, News.KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Wall Street ended the day mixed. The Dow Industrials off 73 points, ending the session at 48,905. Nasdaq was up 80 points. S&P 500 gained 2. Crude oil rose almost 7% today, above $71 per barrel. And it appears that the Trump administration is going to give a lift to consumers on oil and gas prices as the conflict continues. That, according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Today begins the government's shift to OpenAI for artificial intelligence needs. The government moved away from Anthropic last week due to disagreements on how to use the technology. Anthropic had concerns about it being used for potentially spying on Americans or autonomous weapons. And Paramount, in the wake of the merger with Warner Brothers Discovery, is going to combine Paramount Plus and HBO Max into one streaming service. No details yet, though, are out on pricing or the name of the new service, but CEO David Ellison says he will maintain the HBO brand. That's Your Money Now.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK Tuesday.
Superintendent of Lubbock ISD, Kathy Rollo, will be in the studio.
Hey, also Cheryl Isaacs, Coldwell Banker Real Estate, 7:35. And then after 8, Cynthia Evans, Simplifying Social Security, and stuff that you most definitely need to know. Also, listen for the Chicago music. Be caller 1, 2, or 3. Get you in for a drawing to win tickets to see Chicago and dinner for 2 at Fonto Gaucho. The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's the Chad Hasty Show.
Pretty much from here on out, we've got candidates on the show. It's like tomorrow's election day or something. It's weird. That includes, by the way, Sid Miller coming up at 6:05. Visit with him. He got a nice little endorsement at the end of last week. We'll talk about that with him. And joining us on the phones right now, he's been coming on the show for a while talking about his campaign for U.S. Senate. It's Wesley Hunt, Congressman Wesley Hunt, joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic, Chad. Thank you so much for having me on, brother. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. You've been coming on talking about your campaign now for a while, and just kind of how you feeling going into tomorrow's election. I know you got a big event down in the Houston area this evening. How are you feeling with just everything going into tomorrow?
We feel great. Obviously, we've worked very hard. We've traveled all over the state of Texas. We've done over 50 events. I've been in a different city or a different county every single day for the past 2 months. We've done over 200 interviews, and I'm so proud of my team and so proud of how hard we worked. And that's just the work ethic that's in me, brother. It's the West Point graduate in me. It's the former Apache pilot in me. It's the combat veteran that just realizes we got to get in front of the people. We got to work hard. We got to fight to the very, very end. This looks like this thing is going to go to a runoff. I do believe that General Pax is going to be in first place. We have to work hard to get in second place, stay in second place, and then that way the people of Texas will have an option between two strong conservatives.
You know, there were some folks, including, I think, the Cornyn campaign, who were basically saying that this was just a vanity project for you. You didn't, to me, that's insulting because, I mean, you've been running a really hard race. You've been out there campaigning, shaking a lot of hands. I mean, if you were running a vanity primary, it doesn't seem like you'd be working this hard.
You know, when I first got in this, they said that, not enough people knew who I was. This was a vanity project. And then just about 3 weeks ago, they spent $1 million a day for the last 2 weeks hitting me on TV all over Texas. So if this were a vanity project, I mean, oh my gosh, I'm truly flattered by what they were able to do, how they feel about me. But at the end of the day, that means that we are right over the target zone. That means that we are truly a threat. And tomorrow's a big day. We have to have a big day for Texas. But again, we put in the work. We have showed up. We've been out to Lubbock multiple times and met with you, brother.
Yep.
And we're not going to stop doing this until we get to the finish line. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, and the people of Texas will speak.
Yesterday, the senior senator had some interesting comments. He was, I think it was with CBS News, maybe. He had said that if only the most radical people show up in the primary, then that's going to be a challenge. What exactly do you think he meant by radical people? I mean, we've had a lot of, it seems like radical people vote early in the primary. What does that mean, you think?
Radical, it kind of sounds very close to baskets of deplorables, like Hillary Clinton said. It kind of sounds eerily close to, well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. It kind of sounds eerily close to me. If you don't vote for me, then you're a radical. That's his mindset. Everybody knows that John Cornyn is a Bush-era Rhino Lincoln Project Republican. Everyone knows that. And that's why he's in trouble. That's why this is the most expensive primary in the history of this country. And they're going to spend upwards of $100 million, and he is still polling in the 20s and 30s. And why is that? Because it was time for him to retire. And he knows that the quote-unquote radicals, which quite frankly are America First patriots, if you ask me, like myself, they are the ones that are not going to vote for him. And he is calling the everyday Texan, that's a Republican, a radical. And he has forgotten that President Trump won Texas last 15. This is MAGA, radical, America First country. And I think he's going to have a rough day tomorrow.
Visiting with Wesley Hunt, Congressman Wesley Hunt, running that Republican primary for U.S. Senate. Why is it so important for you, and maybe for others too, but specifically for you, to get John Cornyn out of office? Maybe not just because of what could happen over the next 2 years. Forget about that. But over the next 6 years plus, why is it important to get John Cornyn out of office?
If I've said this once to you, brother, I've said it 1,000 times. The United States Senate is not a retirement community. 24 years is long enough. Asking for 30 is ridiculous. It's never happened in the history of Texas. And I'm somebody that's also running on term limits. I'm in my early 40s. I'm going to do this for 2 terms, 12 years. That is it, and I'm going to move on. And the reason why John Cornyn has to go is because it's time for the next generation of leadership to step into the fray and lead Texas. And that's why I got into this race. I got into this race to give the people of Texas an option of someone who was young, someone who could win the primary, someone who could win the general election, and I'm already outperforming both of them in the general election against Jasmine Crockett or Solorito. And that's why he has to go, because it's time for turnover, it's time for new ideas, and it's time for the America First agenda to get codified by President Trump and not be stuck and held up in the Senate by the likes of Tillis, by the likes of Collins, Murkowski, McConnell, and all those are Cornyn's friends. Yeah, he is talking about how America First he is now, but everybody knows that his Liberty score is 54%, and he is somebody that is one of these bipartisan warriors from days gone by, and that's why it's time for change.
All right, before I give you the little bit of time to do the final pitch to the voters, One of the it seems like we have you on after the U.S. takes the U.S. military makes major news out there. We had you on right after what happened in Venezuela, and now after Iran. Watching what happened this weekend with the U.S. and Israeli militaries and just cutting off the head of the Iranian government. How did that feel for you watching? Obviously, you've got that military background. Take us into your thoughts on what happened this past weekend and what continues today.
Well, they have been warned for decades. And this is the president that lives by a mantra. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. We warned you a year ago when we stopped you from having a nuclear weapon when we bombed you in the middle of the night with Midnight Hammer. And then what did you continue to do? You continued to fund terror, and you continued to be harmful to our allies and be a threat to the United States of America. And then now you have finally paid for it. You see, this president doesn't play games. When you draw a red line and that line gets crossed, guess what? There's going to be consequences. We are not going to release your bank account to send you piles of cash. We're going to send you pallets of bombs. Also, this is the definition of peace through strength. We are living it. And the first strike in Iran a year ago, what happened with Maduro, and what's happening right now, this is how he is actively doing his due justice and keeping the American citizens safe and keeping our allies safe. And last I checked, I haven't seen brigades deployed. This is the man, President Trump is the man that does not believe in long, drawn-out wars that last for 10 years and trillions of dollars. But this is what it takes. If you don't abide by the negotiation process that we are putting in front of you, then there's going to be consequences, and they pay for it.
Visiting with Congressman Wesley Hunt, running in that Republican primary for U.S. Senate. Congressman, I'll give you about a minute here. Give folks the final pitch why they should vote for you tomorrow on Election Day.
I'm born and raised in Texas. I got 3 little babies here in Texas. They were all born here. And I was born and raised in Texas. I want to make this place better and leave it better than I found it, not just for my little babies, but for your little babies and your grandbabies and for the very future of Texas. Having a true conservative warrior, somebody that served in combat, somebody that flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad is going to die for this country. I am built for this, and for whatever reason, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ gave me a series of experiences that allowed me to be perfect for this job right now, to serve for the future. I want to do 2 terms, 12 years. That is all. That is all that should be required, because that's exactly what our founding fathers wanted. And I know that there's been a lot of mudslinging about me and a lot of lies that have been told. But at the end of the day, what that tells me is I am right over the target zone, and we are peaking at the right time because we are actually connecting with the people of Texas. And if you want an America First patriot like me, who was the first person in the country to endorse President Trump, who was a top surrogate for President Trump, then please cast your vote for Wesley Hunt. But most importantly, I would love to have your prayers. Please pray for this country. Please pray for our president. Please pray for those soldiers in harm's way. And God bless Texas.
Wesley Hunt, thank you, my friend. It's good to hear from you, as always. And I'm sure we'll speak again after Election Day.
Yeah, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Hey, thank you. Best of luck. That's Congressman Wesley Hunt here on the Chad Hasty Show. When we come back, Mike Kostelich will join us. He's running for Justice of the Peace here in Lubbock. We've got Sid Miller at 6:05, Chad Seay at 6:15, Nate Sheets at 6:50. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
From the heart of the hub city to the wide open skies of West Texas, KFYO keeps you connected to the stories, the voices, and the conversations that matter most. This is the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Securing America.
During the recent State of the Union address, President Trump awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor to 100-year-old former Navy fighter pilot Captain Royce Williams for his actions in a dogfight against 7 Soviet MiGs during the Korean War in November of 1952.
Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others.
The day after the speech, Williams was inducted into the Pentagon's Hall of Heroes, where he downplayed his actions, which took place despite his plane being hit with over 260 bullets.
Set out to be good at whatever I do for my country.
However, War Secretary Pete Hegseth countered,
"You showed a grateful nation the definition of heroism."
Williams' response? Very simple.
All I say is, God bless America.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
All right, welcome back to the Chad HD Show. Election Eve here on the program. And that means that we have numerous interviews from candidates who wanted to give that final pitch, that last minute, hey, get out and vote for me. That last pitch to the voters. And joining us in the studio right now, Mike Kostelich, running for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1. K for Precinct 1 as his Facebook page. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Chad?
Doing good. Glad to have you back with us.
Thank you.
What have you, because I know you've been doing a lot of block walking, talking to folks out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does a lot of it come down to having to tell people and explain to people why, the JP matter, why Justice of the Peace matters, and why they need to, care about who the JP is?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think the biggest question I've had, doing block walking is what does a JP do?
Yeah.
So a JP does evictions. They do civil law up to $20,000. They also do truancy. The things I've been asked is, how am I going to make the difference in Precinct 1? I've got 25 years of court experience. So I've been in the courtroom for 25 years, with my background in apartment complexes. I've been in the scene of the courtroom for that long, and I know what needs to be changed. The biggest change that needs to be made is the communication part of it. People are absolutely lost when they go into the courtrooms, and the things that I'm running on and promising to my voters that when I get in there to make the decisions for JP1, I'm going to make sure that the communication's there. One thing is the website. We're going to make sure that it's easy language for them, that it's easy to navigate for them and have the information that they need. The laws on there are written by attorneys. They're very difficult to read. There's easier ways for you to get that on paper in an easy language for people to understand.
Yeah.
The paperwork, it needs to be on the website. That way they don't have to come to the courthouse and get the paperwork. Try to save some time for them. I mean, that's the biggest thing is communication. The other thing I'm running on is integrity. Integrity in the courtroom, and it also needs to be in the office also when you come and talk to the clerks there. I want to make sure that they're treated fairly and with respect. We should be treating them with respect in the courtroom, and that's some things I've seen, going in there that's not happening. So I want to make sure that I bring a presence in there of integrity and fairness, and that all voices are going to be heard when they come to Precinct 1.
Yeah. I think that, the point you bring up about communication, that's key for the JP office. Because again, it's and it's kind of been described as the regular person's court, that, this is what you get with the JP court. And of course that has to deal with truancy as well.
Correct. So, truancy is going to be my big thing. I'm going to make sure that, we're not just throwing out fines to the parents, but we're trying to find what the root cause is.
Yeah.
Actually talking to the kids, ultimately, yes, that's something that we're able to do as a JP is find the parents, but that's not everything that should be involved in it. We should be out there in the schools and talking to them and trying to help these kids stay in school.
Yeah. And of course, that's something that at least it sounds it's one of those that's easier said than done in many of these cases.
Yeah,
it sounds like.
Yeah, and you got to have the compassion. One thing I have a lot of compassion. Me and my wife, we taught youth group at our church, and I still got kids today that thank me, for leading them to Christ and following up with them even after they left our class. Yeah. I still follow with them today. They're on my Facebook, and I still, I talk to them. Hey, how you doing? Are you doing fine? And that's something that we have to have in the courtroom, is that compassion for these kids. It's a lot of times it's not the kids' fault, that they can't get to school, or they're not forced to go to school.
What kind of separates you from your opponents in this race?
Well, the biggest thing that separates me from both opponents is I have actual courtroom experience. Both of my opponents don't have any courtroom experience, and I think that gives me a more of a know of what needs to be done in the courtroom and how to proceed. I'm able to go in there day one and get started and go to work.
Yeah. For those who are watching this, we've got about a minute left. Give that final pitch to the voters.
All right. Well, I'm here to make sure that we make a change into Precinct 1. You can still go to my website, which is k4jurors.com. And if you want to read up more about me, that's the best place to go.
All right. Very good. Mike Kostelich, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1. That's in the Republican primary. It's where you can vote for him. Mike, thanks for stopping by.
Well, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. When we come back, Sid Miller scheduled to join us here on the Chad HD Show. We're talking about his re-election campaign. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
Ted Cruz here. Tune in to KFYO every Sunday at 11 for Verdict with Ted Cruz. But stick around for Reason, Religion, and Reality at noon, followed by the best of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, right here on the News and Talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
When high winds and dangerous storms rock West Texas, stay ahead of the weather with the station you trust. Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Take KFYO on the go with the KFYO app, News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
The strikes against Iran will continue. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says it will take 4 to 5 weeks for the military to achieve its objectives in Iran, explaining his reasoning for taking the action.
The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America.
The president says this was our best chance to strike, while also paying tribute to the service members who were killed. The Pentagon now says 6 service members have been killed in that action against Iran. Key members of Congress briefed on the action.
The objective was not regime change. The objective was to take out those missiles, the short and mid-range missiles, and their ability to produce them. We did that. That was objective number 1. Objective number 2 was to eliminate their naval capabilities.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, but Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner says while he sheds no tears for the demise of the Iranian regime,
I've said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America.
He said if there was a threat to Israel, and if we're acting because of that, we're in what he called uncharted territory. Israel's been under attack since the start of the conflict.
The war has now expanded to Israel's northern front, with the Iran-backed terror group Hezbollah launching rockets into northern Israel overnight. In response, the Israelis striking targets across Lebanon. Israeli sources tell Fox News that 30 Hezbollah operatives were killed and significant damage was caused to the Lebanese capital of Beirut. We're also learning that Hezbollah still has up to 12,000 missiles and rockets in its arsenal.
Fox's Trey Inks in Tel Aviv, the State Department urging U.S. citizens to leave more than a dozen Middle Eastern countries due to safety risks. America's listening to Fox News.
Has anybody told you about Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Coast to Coast is one of those programs that deals with strange mysteries. We'll look at Bigfoot. We'll look at UFOs. We'll look at real science. And we'll also look at conspiracies and what it all means to you, the listeners of Coast to Coast AM.
It's the best in overnight talk radio. Coast to Coast AM.
Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Tonight at midnight on KFYO.
Up Plains weather forecast. We end Monday with a very mild day, and temperatures are dropping into the middle 50s by Tuesday morning. On Tuesday, temperatures in the middle to upper 80s under mostly sunny sky. Clouds increase on Tuesday night. A cool front again on Wednesday with the temperatures in the mid 70s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the new All-American Sonic Smasher Mill. Meteorologist Ron Roberts of Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you tuning in today. Tomorrow, Election Day. Don't forget, you can join us. I'll tell you this, we're not scheduled to have any guests during the show tomorrow. I know. For the first time in, I don't know, a long time, not scheduled to have any guest on the show tomorrow. It's all about you tomorrow, and so that's how we're gonna put it. Of course, we'll catch up on the latest with Iran, also the terrorist attack down in Austin. We'll get you caught up to date with that and everything else that develops. But join us tomorrow evening from 7 p.m. to at least 10 p.m. as we will have election night coverage here on the network. Be myself along with Ken Corbin and Matt Crow. And, of course, we'll be giving you the results from across the state of Texas and visiting with candidates as well. Those who are very happy candidates. We'll visit with them if they turn out to be very happy and win their races. And joining us Right now on the phones, a candidate hoping to win re-election in the Republican primary and then on in the general election. He wants to continue to be your Texas Ag Commissioner. We've got Sid Miller joining us here on the Chad HD Show. Commissioner Miller, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm just dandy. Happy Texas Independence Day, Chad.
And to you as well. You're the first guest who has said that. I'm surprised. You're the first one who has said that today. Wow. Okay. Yes. Happy Texas Independence Day. I knew you'd say it, by the way. Happy Texas Independence Day to you. You've got to be happy because over the weekend, you got a pretty major endorsement out there.
Well, we do. We've got a lot of good momentum going our way. You know, Friday after the press conference in Corpus Christi, Trump came out and endorsed me and Don Huffines, both of us. So that's huge. Wish we'd had a little earlier, but the timing's always good to get that kind of endorsement because this is the third time that he's endorsed my reelection. So I'm very proud to be Trump's man in Texas. That's what he calls me.
Yeah. So did he? So I've got to ask, and I don't want you to give anything like if there's any secret or anything, but was there a reason why he waited, or just Trump will tell you when Trump wants to tell you?
You know, I haven't even got to talk to him about it, but if I find out, I'll let you know. But he did the right thing. But we're glad to have it. It's really give our campaign a boost. It's brought in a lot of campaign donations that probably wouldn't have came in, so that's good. That helps us get this message out. You know, we're ended up with, all the funds we need to get our text messages and emails out and streaming videos. So I think we're in good shape. We feel really confident going into the election tomorrow. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Visiting with Sid Miller, Texas Ag Commissioner. He wants to be reelected as your Ag Commissioner. What for those who, maybe if they're still trying to decide what is really, one or two things that sets you and your opponent apart? Why do people need to go with you for reelection? Well, there's some stark differences. I'm an eighth-generation farmer and rancher. I still make my living off the land, raising crops, cattle, and horses. I have an education, college education is agriculture. I've graduated with a degree in agriculture, became an ag teacher, had the great honor of teaching our youth about the virtues of agriculture and careers in agriculture, was a FFA advisor. Now, my opponent has never lived on a farm, and none of his generations have been farmers. He has no agriculture education whatsoever. He never was even involved in 4-H or FFA. Matter of fact, he said FFA is just a place to learn to debate. It doesn't teach kids anything about agriculture, and there's no hope for a future in agriculture for our young people. And he also disparaged farm workers. He said our farm workers are the worst, and that we need more foreign workers. That his quote was, American workers, by 10 o'clock, they're sitting under a shade tree drinking beer while the H2A workers are going through the field, getting everything done. So he would know because he's worked of the H2B workers in his business, so he's very familiar with that. So very disappointing. So that's the main differences. I've got the experience. We went through sunset process where they examine your agency, and at the exit interview, the Sunset Commission said, Commissioner Miller, we've just got to tell you, of all the decades we've been researching and reviewing and auditing state agencies, this is the best-run agency we've ever reviewed. So that says a lot about the Texas Department of Agriculture and what shape it's in. So we've got it in the best shape it's ever been in. I'm gonna make the case that there's no need for change at this point. What does, let's say you're reelected, what is the future for you as far as things that you want to get accomplished, things you want to do? What does that look like for you? Well, I think the main thing we're focused on now is eliminating this $50 billion trade deficit Biden left us. We've always been the breadbasket of the world. We feed ourselves and everybody else. And now we're buying $50 billion more food than we're selling. So we're dependent on foreign powers to feed us. That's the most dangerous position you can ever be in. So what I've done, and my opponent's got an ad out there saying that I'm taking 48 trips around the globe, on the taxpayer's dime, which none of that's true. But what the truth is, the fact is, I have 45 international trips planned. I have 12 ambassadors that I've given extensive training to. We're sending those out on these 45 trade missions. They're taking 10 to 30 companies with them, setting up meetings with buyers, and we've been very, very successful. And we're not paying for it. The Southern United States Trade Association is footing the bill. So even that part of the attack is not true. So we've finished a deal with Taiwan. They're buying $10 billion worth of agriculture products above what they were already buying. So that's a fifth of it gone right now. I've had teams get back from Dubai, Oman, Lebanon, and Mexico this last week. Lebanon, believe it or not, is buying 50 tons of beef from us every week to feed their military. So just the fact that we show up it makes it pretty easy. Everybody wants to do business with a Texan.
Yeah.
We just got something special that no one else has. We're just like magnets. I can walk in there with this big hat and belt buckle and West Texas accent, and they think I'm J.R. Ewing. So it's working. It's working. And we've got a lot of things, Chad, and you know this, but maybe you haven't thought of it, but we've got the farm bill we've got to write. We've got this ag trade deficit. I've got the cotton jassid, going to wipe out the cotton industry if we don't get it under control. We've got the same thing in our rice. We've got water treaties to work out with Mexico. We're winning that battle. I'm trying to get the sugarcane industry restarted and rekindled in the valley. We've got somebody buying the plant and renovating it. I'm working with the shrimp. I think we've got a deal on the shrimp to inspect all that foreign shrimp. If you'll remember, we had 3 different cases where shrimp got distributed across the United States from these foreign countries that was radioactive.
Yeah.
One of the busiest things, and it's getting the most attention, is data centers right now.
Right.
So I've come up with a plan. Pete Sessions is carrying the bill for me to create agriculture freedom zones so we can have some guardrails around these things. Right now there's none. And it's an incentive program to give tax incentives so they'll build on our less productive land. Right now, they're taking out our very best farmland and our water and our electricity.
Yeah.
And we have a plan for that, too. So we've got all that going on. Of course, we've, fighting the natural disasters like the panhandle fires and flooding in the hill country and hurricanes on the coast and tornadoes and hailstorms. And we had a lot of freeze damage this winter. So we've got, there's an endless list of jobs I've got going on in projects. I'm probably leaving off 10 or 15. I can't even think of. There's so many.
Let me ask you.
Anyway, no, I got a lot left to do.
Let me ask you before we wrap things up. When it comes to, obviously the governor endorsed your opponent. You got the endorsement of the president of the United States. When it comes to the legislature, when it comes to upcoming session, how do you think you're going to be able to work with the legislature in the upcoming session?
Well, I tell you what, I hope it's just like we did the last session. We had the best session we've ever had. I tell you what, Dustin Burrows is fabulous. I love that guy. He is phenomenal. They gave us an extra $100 million we didn't even ask for our young farmer program, and they're opening up to everybody. So we're implementing that. I'll have that up and running in about 20 days. I forgot to even mention that, and that's really important to your area. I've already sent out grants to keep these cotton gins open. We've sent out several of those. So it's working real well. Now, that governor, he's mad at me. But I stand up for agriculture, and when he steps on us and does us wrong, I have to let him know. So during COVID, he took winners and losers, essential businesses, non-essential. Well, he shut down livestock auction barns, seed feed, fertilizer dealers, garden centers, western stores, gun shops. Well, I'm autonomous. I have executive power over the agriculture code. So I opened them all back up. That didn't sit very well with him. And then he decided to close the border and inspect all the trucks coming in from Mexico. And we lost $3 billion worth of product rotted on the trucks. And we had thousands and thousands of our trucks stuck in Mexico, couldn't get out. So the cartel retaliated and set our trucks on fire. So, I got after him pretty hard about that, too.
Sid Miller.
And then one other time, I sued him for extending early voting.
Well, that's why he doesn't like you then.
But I like him. He's okay. He's a pretty good governor. Just when he steps on agriculture, I have a responsibility to defend it.
Yeah, I hear you. Take the next minute. Give that final pitch to the voters why they need to vote for you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that endorsement of Trump was huge. It really was. I'm your ag commissioner every day. This is not a stepping stone for me. This is, I want to be your ag commissioner. I'm not temporarily here, and I'm running for lieutenant governor or governor. I'm the ag commissioner. And that endorsement was great from Trump. But there's one more endorsement that I don't have, and it's the most important one in this election. And I hope I earn it, and I hope I get it tomorrow. And that's you, the voter that has not voted. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking you for support. I promise you, I will work as hard as I possibly can as your ag commissioner. I'll continue to feed your kids every day. We're now feeding $300 million worth of locally grown products to our children where we weren't feeding any. I'm proud to be on the MAHA team with Bobby Kennedy and writing the new food guidelines and the food pyramid. We've got whole milk back into our schools, and I intend to get fluoride out of our drinking water this next session.
All right.
So I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller, thank you for your time. Good luck, and we'll visit with you later on.
You got it. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That's Commissioner Sid Miller. You're on the Chad Hasty Show. He has a pep in his step, I'd say. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Out here in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Trouble sleeping, your mind racing. So what do? We get help. There are people in our community who are here for us. Sometimes, just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
As you get ready in the morning and as you drive home from work, stay informed with the latest news from lawmakers across Texas and the rest of the country with Fox News every day right here on News Talk KFYO.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show as we go from one candidate to the next. We've got Chad Seay in studio running for Lubbock County Commissioner in Precinct 4. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing?
Doing great. Doing really good.
How you feeling going into Election Day tomorrow?
Very confident.
Yeah, that's good.
From doing all my block walking, talking to a lot of people that I've met, I feel very confident.
What's the number one, number two issue? What are people talking to you about?
Number one that I get a lot of is the Expo Center.
Yeah.
A lot of, I didn't think it would be that big a deal when I was block walking, but my gosh, it's a big deal. People are very concerned.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, so as county commissioner, what would you do different? What would you do? What would you do about the Expo Center where it's currently heading? What is your priority with it?
I'm not against the project at all. I am against the people who have been leading the project on the LCEC bunch. They've had this for going on 7 years.
Yeah.
Now they want to start over. By the time we have new set of plans, I have no problem with the location or anything. We're going to be $9 million in this, and the county can only come up with $35 million, and they've never showed us once how much money they can raise or what they have.
Yeah.
I have a big problem with that.
Yeah.
There's no transparency with the private part.
So
now,
what needs to happen?
I do understand them wanting to keep their donors quiet, but at some point they've got to man up and say, okay, this is what we have and this is what we can do. We can't go forward at all until we know that.
Yeah, I think you have to open the books at some point.
Yeah. The other thing is public safety. Since public safety had been defunded, a lot of people are concerned about that.
What do you mean by defunded? Because your opponent says it wasn't defunded. Well, we still have Sheriff's Department out there. We still have.
Well, what do you call pulling $1.4 million? That come directly from the auditors. That was from her mouth alone, it come from $1.4 million. That was the auditor, not me. Same thing with the volunteer fire departments. Commissioner himself acknowledges that they cut funding to the volunteer fire departments. If you go back into the budget session that they approved, they told everybody 10%. We're cutting 10% from everybody. Well, that's 10% from our DA's office that's already under pressure. So that is public safety in a nutshell.
So would you, I guess, restore funding to the previous levels?
The first one I would do is volunteer fire departments. They have got to be put back where they were. I donated even my personal money to these guys. I mean, we're asking these guys to run into burning buildings for free or go into these wreck scenes when there's traffic out there for free. We at least can give them the best equipment we can get because they're a non-paid entity, and I'm thankful that they're out there.
Yeah. What about Sheriff's Department? Do we go back to the?
We need more. Yes. Well, we need more deputies out there. Right now, at any given time at night, we have 5 sheriff's patrols. 5 sheriff's patrols for 900 square miles.
Yeah.
Do the math on that. That's why whenever you call, well, I've had a break-in or I've had a accident out here, I need to get a sheriff's report. You might see them in 30 minutes, maybe. Or if it was a life and death situation, what I've heard, sometimes the best we can do is 15 minutes. By that time, it's over.
So what is, how many extra deputies do you hire? What's been the, why haven't we done that in the past? Why has, or has there been a request and the funding just hasn't been approved?
We have 5. In my personal opinion, the way we're growing, we need somewhere in between 8 and 10 to get our response times down. Mm-hmm. The reason it hadn't been done in the past is because of budget restraints. When I was commissioner before, we were having a problem losing so many of our good deputies. We'd train these guys up. We had the best deputies we could have. Well, there was other people just hiring them out from under us, like the city of Lubbock, like LISD, the schools around here. So we had to improve their step pay. I guess you remember this went to a voter-approved election, and the voters overwhelmingly said, yeah, we need to fund our public safety. Well, what we've done now is we have cut back since that time from that was in 2021. Now we're at the 2009 levels. So we have actually defunded all that. Then, of course, we're having problems keeping our DA's office because there's other places pay so much better. So they've been defunded as well. So my number one priority is public safety. We have 60-something known gangs out there. You can see it every day on TV. There's been a shooting. There's been a robbery. There's been something gang-related. Yeah. The Banditos just got busted the other day. You've heard about that. I mean, we're putting so much on our sheriff's department right now, and even all law enforcement, that they're struggling.
What do you think about the recent vote on game rooms that limited their operational hours to between 8 and 5? What do you think needs to happen with game rooms?
Personally, I'm not in favor of the game rooms at all.
Yeah.
Because that's, from what I understand when I was commissioner before, it was a haven for prostitution, drugs, and other illegal things. I'm not in favor of them all. They wrote that in. I'm glad they put more restrictions on it because most people work during the day, so they're not allowed to go out and get themselves in trouble at night anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they did good.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you would kind of continue to be very strict on game rooms.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Give that, we got a minute left. Give the final pitch to the voters who are going to be getting out tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm Chad Seay. I have 2 different businesses that I've here in Lubbock that I've brought up from the ground up. Multiple employees. I pay lots of taxes, so I don't like it seeing wasted. I pay insurance. I hire and fire. I do all the things that you're going to have to do as a county commissioner. Also, number 1 is public safety. Number 2, we can't not give our employees COLA raises when we give ourselves as elected officials raises. I never did it. I won't do it. The other thing, we have to build our business to build our tax base around here. So I want to be known as a business-friendly county. So we can build our tax base, and over eventually amount of time, we can start lowering our taxes but still fund our public safety services.
Yeah. Chad Seay, candidate for Lubbock County Commissioner, Precinct 4 in the Republican primary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
We'll be right back.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Nick, this is your phone here in the passenger seat. Look at me.
No, I'm driving.
You got a text. It says, "Yo, dude, your friends are fascinating. Let's text them back."
It can wait.
Sports app. Oh, you gotta see this play.
Later.
Hey, you got invited to a party. We need a RSVP now.
Phone, silence yourself.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
TSN headlines: the search for a motive continues in Austin, where a gunman opened fire outside a crowded bar Sunday morning, killing 2 people, injuring 14. The FBI and local authorities are investigating this as a potential act of terrorism. The Texas Department of Public Safety reminding Texans of the I Watch Texas program. This comes in the aftermath of the growing conflict between the United States and Iran and that shooting in Austin. Texas voters go to the polls tomorrow for a high-stakes primary election that will set the stage for the November midterms. In the GOP Senate primary, incumbent John Cornyn being challenged by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Houston area Congressman Wesley Hunt. The Democratic side, it's a contest between Dallas Congressman Jasmine Crockett and State Rep James Tallarico. Buc-ee's lawyers going after another store and their mascot. They say it looks too much like the Buc-ee's Beaver. The lawsuit against a convenience store in Ohio called Mickey Mart. The mascot, a cartoon mouse in a red hexagon, compared to Buc-ee's Beaver in a yellow circle. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Former lobbyist Sid Miller is flying high, and Texans are paying the price. As Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller spends our money traveling the globe with 48 taxpayer-funded overseas trips planned this year alone. And while Sid Miller travels the world on our dime, foreign adversaries like China and the Muslim Brotherhood are buying up Texas farmland from right under our feet. It's why Governor Abbott called Miller an utter failure. But thankfully, we have a choice. Abbott endorsed Nate Sheets as running for Ag Commissioner to put farmers first. Nate Sheets is a proud veteran and Christian who built America's #1 honey company from a single beehive in his backyard. As Ag Commissioner, Nate will fight to improve the bottom line for farmers and ranchers and help Trump stop foreign enemies from buying up our land. Governor Abbott, Texas Farm Bureau, and the Texas Cattle Raisers stand with Nate Sheets. Vote conservative Republican Nate Sheets for Ag Commissioner.
I'm Nate Sheets, and I approve of this message. Political ad paid for by Nate Sheets Campaign.
Here are Lubbock's Top Plains weather forecast. We end Monday with a very mild day, and temperatures are dropping into the middle 50s by Tuesday morning. On Tuesday, temperatures in the middle to upper 80s under mostly sunny sky. Clouds increase on Tuesday night. A cool front again on Wednesday with the mid-temperatures in the mid-70s. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the new All-American Sonic Smasher Mill. Meteorologist Ron Everett to Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
From the heart of the hub city to the wide open skies of West Texas, KFYO keeps you connected to the stories, the voices, and the conversations that matter most. This is the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Saving you money, I'm Hillary Barsky. A lot of people are becoming aware of wasting less food, especially when the cost of living keeps going up. If you're trying to reduce your waste footprint, there are apps that can help you cut back on food waste while even saving you some cash, like Too Good To Go, which is a free app that connects you to local restaurants and stores that have leftover food that's sold for a discounted price before they close for the day to the public to avoid food waste. Also, Flash Food is an app that links you to local grocery stores that are selling foods like fruits, vegetables, bread, meats, desserts, and more at a discounted rate. Stores participating in this app may be your local supermarket, grocery, or convenience store looking to avoid throwing out food that is still perfectly good. Food Hero is similar to Flash Food, and there's Olio that focuses on reducing waste by allowing individuals and local businesses to list surplus food for free pickup. Saving you money, Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We switched gears. Our next guest is actually not running for office. Everyone else we've had is running for office. And we'll have Nate Sheets on here in just a little bit. But our next guest is here to talk to us a little bit about school choice and also kind of the some of the new tools out there for parents when it comes to school choice and artificial intelligence and all that kind of good stuff. Joining us on the phones right now, we have Adam Mangana, who's joining us. He's the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Optima, and he has over 15 years of experience in education technology. Welcome to the program, Adam. How are you today?
Chad, thank you so much. I'm doing amazing and thrilled to be on your show.
Well, it's great to have you. First, let's talk about, this is kind of cool, Optima. Tell folks a little bit about this. You launched Optima, the world's first virtual reality charter school. What does that mean?
You know, in the era of AI, students are already looking for something different. What we've married is 21st century technology with first century wisdom. So we're teaching Aristotle and Plato and all of the hallmarks of Western civilization. We're teaching children to love our country's history, to learn from founding documents, but we're delivering it in the metaverse as opposed to Zoom school, which we knew was a disaster.
Well, and so what is that for, maybe those who maybe aren't too familiar with the metaverse, what does that look like compared to, the like you said, the Zoomverse that was out there?
So Zoom, of course, was engineered as a conference call, so you show up with a video chat. In the metaverse, it's like, Miss Frizzle. So all of the students show up as avatars. The teacher is leading, so it's teacher-led instruction. But now we can go back to interviewing Benjamin Franklin and the founders of our country, or we can go back to ancient Rome, or we can enter the cell, and it makes learning much more sticky. So imagine every teacher at Optima is now Miss Frizzle and can now teach students in a concept-based way as opposed to being, just an observer of that knowledge.
Yeah, what is it, grades 3 through 8, is that right?
Yeah, so we're actually K-12. We're launching in Texas K-9, so kindergarten through 9th grade.
That's awesome. To me as a kid, that would have been amazing. I'm trying to think of it right now. I mean, that would just be so cool to be transported into whatever era you were talking about, and just look around you and see all that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, Augustine said, the world is a novel. If you stay in one place, you've only read one chapter. The power for every parent to be the CEO of their own child's education and to be able to give them a world-class education regardless of what they're paying in property tax, it's a pretty transformational opportunity for these West Texas parents.
Yeah, so we've got school choice. Parents are signing up for these education savings accounts. What does school choice look like? What is it going to look like mixed in with all this artificial intelligence and AI in the future? What does it look like for us?
You have two major innovations that are going to change people's ability to access a world-class education. Of course, we mentioned the technological innovation with the metaverse and AI, but the other innovation is thanks to President Trump and Governor Abbott, Texas is now leading the way with the largest launch of an educational savings account program in the country. ESAs mean that now the dollars follow the family. So you have, the average Texas family, if they apply to this program, they'll get $10,000 to purchase the kind of education that their children need. If their students have special needs, they can get up to $30,000. And if they just want to use it for supplemental, they still like, to homeschool, they can get $2,000. So that's a transformational opportunity because now you're not tethered to whatever school zone you can pay taxes in. You can get access to any private education, both online and brick and mortar, using those that particular policy innovation.
Well, and I think with just, some of the, for those who maybe homeschool and maybe for those who just want, some of the extra educational tools, the rise of AI is going to provide that and so much more.
Oh, my goodness. And, I mean, here's the thing. You know, we want to be able to give our kids the tools and perspectives, but we're pretty proud of Western civilization and what it's built in this beautiful country. And so it's the marriage of this new delivery mechanism with, you know, making sure that you have content that is inspired by all of the best thinkers to have ever lived in Western civilization. Plato, Socrates, Jesus Christ, our best teachers, right? And so that's the insight that Optima brings to the kind of curricular problem we're facing in this country. We are absolutely committed to making sure that the students who are benefiting from this grow up to love the United States and all the innovation that our beautiful country has produced.
That's very cool. Tell folks where I'd love to visit with you, in the future about this, get a little bit more in depth into it. But for now, where can people just find out more information about what all's happening with school choice and with Optima and with the AI blend, if you will?
You got it. Yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity. You know, the window is closing March 17th to apply for the actual educational savings account, so I would encourage everybody to go to educationfreedom.texas.gov if they are interested in participating in the program. And then once you've done that, please visit us at www.optimaacademy.online to learn about our offering.
All right, very good. Adam, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's do this again soon, okay?
Chad, you have an incredible show. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. That's Adam Mangana joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show, and appreciate him joining us today. When we come back, got some text messages that we'll get to. Also, scheduled to visit with Nate Sheets when we return and wrap things up.
Silly girls just seem to find out early.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Do you have kids? Then you know the importance of properly installing their car seats and buckling them up correctly to protect them from injuries. Unfortunately, most parents think their children are safely buckled, but that's not always the case. Visit SaveMeWithASeat.org to easily sign up for a free car seat inspection near you. Keep your kids safe with properly installed car seats and by buckling them up correctly so you can save them with a seat. Brought to you by TxDOT.
What's better than listening to KFYO first thing in the morning? Well, listening to Fox News on KFYO first thing in the morning. Don't miss the latest news affecting the local and federal government, as well as the goings-on in that little white building called the White House. With Fox News, every day, right here on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM, KFYO.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Final segment. Tomorrow, Election Day. We've got the Election Night show tomorrow night from 7 to 10 p.m. Really, the entire 5 to 10 p.m. is going to be Election Night coverage. But really, 7 to 10 will be the Election Night show. Myself, Ken Corbin, Matt Crow will be here looking at all the results coming across and what the results will mean for November. We've got some interesting numbers when it comes to who is voting out there and the vote enthusiasm among Republicans and Democrats. And we'll get into all that story and everything else tomorrow. Visit with candidates and take your feedback as well. Joining us on the phones right now, one of those candidates hoping to do very well in tomorrow's primary results. We have Nate Sheets joining us once again, running for Texas Ag Commissioner. And Mr. Sheets, welcome back. How are you today?
Chad, we are great. We just finished our 28th city on the Governor Abbott tour with Kelly Hancock, and we just wrapped up the last one in Houston.
Well, very good. It seems like a lot of candidates are in Houston right now, and there's a lot of votes there. So that's kind of how that happens. Hey, a couple of things. Of course, you've been endorsed by the governor. We had a texter who was asking, wait a minute, why the split in the endorsements? We have the governor who's endorsing your campaign. The president came out and endorsed your opponent, which I'm sure you weren't too thrilled about last Friday.
No,
why do you?
I don't care.
You don't care?
No, listen. I mean, had President Trump been trying to help Sid Miller, he would have endorsed him 6 months ago when Sid was begging him to endorse him. But the president, probably in a moment of distraction because he realized he was about to go attack Iran, realized when he saw Sid standing up in the audience down in Corpus Christi, like begging him to call him out, which he didn't. Then on the way back, he thought, oh, wait, I never helped Sid. But he helped Sid 2 days before the election, and in 3 hours before he goes and attacks Iran. So it was, I think it's almost more comical than helpful.
So you don't think it'll have any impact in the race?
No, I don't. It's too late.
Yeah. Well, so we had Sid on earlier today, and he had said that you had attacked FFA and said it was nothing more than good to prepare for debate or something to that effect. I want to give you time to kind of answer that because I know he's hit you on social media about that as well.
Yeah, Sid is on trying to distort everything that he can try to distort to distract people away from the fact that he has no vision for what Texas needs going into the future, including FFA. And what I was saying is he always likes to take little clips out of context. I was saying because of the current economic environment in agriculture, that if you want to try to actually go into agriculture, like be a farmer or a rancher, and if you're not a fifth or a sixth generation rancher or farmer, you can't get into agriculture. And that's one of the reasons why FFA, inspires kids to go off and try to go do other parts of food science or things, ancillary related programs to agriculture. But I was talking about if you want to truly be a farmer or a rancher, you can't, because the economics are upside down right now in agriculture. I was just with a rice farmer down in Beaumont, and he was telling me that he was a fifth generation farmer. His kids didn't want to be a farmer behind him, and he was concerned he was going to be the last generation. But then he also shared with me that he just sold his rice crop for 40% less than it actually cost him to make it. That's the typical scenario of what's going on in agriculture today.
So is that something that as ag commissioner you can change, or is that more on the federal level? What can you do about that?
Absolutely. See, there's a program called the Go Texan program that actually, when the Sunset Commission came in and audited and reviewed the Texas Department of Agriculture 5 years ago, the number one thing that they said they needed to go do was revamp the Go Texas program, because it's a program that was created to help connect producers with consumers. Unfortunately, we have a ag commissioner that has no vision and doesn't understand how to drive that revenue aspect as related to helping farmers and ranchers. Like, I started with one beehive in my backyard. Now I'm in 30,000 grocery stores across America, and the number one brand in America. And I did it by getting into grocery stores and putting product on the shelf at 4 o'clock in the morning myself. So there are programs, specifically the Go Texan program, that we can revamp and really make it impactful and be able to connect consumers and producers together.
What is, and I guess we can lump this in with, give your final pitch to the voters. What is the main differences between you and your opponent, why people should vote for you, and mix in why, give that final pitch out there to the voters?
Yeah, listen, our current commissioner is leaving the state of agriculture in Texas in the worst condition it has ever been in. He has no idea what to do or how to do it, and so he just goes off and talks about things that have nothing to do except focusing on farming and ranching. I've spent 30 years in the food industry business. I've got a cattle program. We've got cutting horses, so we've got the agricultural side, but I have 30 years of revenue generation, driving markets, and helping to clean up food at the same time. And that's what agriculture needs. We can't afford another 4 years under the leadership of Sid Miller. And I'm not going to be plagued with ethical issues like having a felon chief of staff running the Texas Department of Agriculture after he was pled guilty to a felony for defrauding farmers and ranchers. And Sid talks about, well, he pled guilty and he was bankrupt. Yeah, but you hired him. You hired a felon to run the Texas Department of Agriculture. So I guess that has a lower standard to be the chief of staff of the TDA than it is to be a lobbyist, because he couldn't be a lobbyist any longer. So we're not going to plague the Texas Department of Agriculture and distract away from this core issue, and that's helping farmers and ranchers be able to not just stay in business, but thrive in business and clean up all the food that we eat.
All right, Nate Sheets, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us throughout the primary. We wish you best of luck out there, and one way or the other, I'm sure we will speak again after
we'll
tomorrow.
Talk on the backside.
All right. Hey, Nate
All right,
Sheets,
thanks,
thank you
Chad.
so much. Have a great one.
All right, have a good night. All right, bye.
That's Nate Sheets running in the Republican primary for Texas, and the primary for Texas Ag Commissioner. And he's fired up, too. He doesn't think the Trump endorsement will have any impact. We'll see. And normally when Trump says something, it normally has a little bit of an impact. A little bit out there. Again, that's going to be a fun race to watch. I said I think it was a few weeks ago, when the Texas Tribune had this article they published that said that Sid Miller was the underdog in this race. I said, not so fast. I don't think he is. I think Sid Miller is probably the leader in this race, and it's going to be really interesting to see. Because you've had a lot of really big organizations and big groups jump on board with a lot of ag groups who have jumped on board with Nate Sheets. Obviously, the governor has jumped on board with Nate Sheets. You've had, Sid Miller, who kind of got off to a late campaign, I would say, and maybe didn't take it as seriously. But there just seems to be something about Sid Miller where people just like Sid, and he's been kind of that Teflon candidate out there. We'll see if that continues. Election day is tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. As of right now, no guest will join us during the show. No candidates, at least, will join us during the show. And so it'll just be us. We've got a lot to talk about. Want to hear your feedback on polling locations, questions about candidates, maybe, whatever it is. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless you all. Happy Texas Independence Day. See you tomorrow at 5 p.m.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.